a kind, high in the sky. A plane was flying to Moscow. The cabin was quiet and peaceful. Passengers were reading books, looking out the windows at clouds. And some were simply dozing to the quiet hum of engines. In the seventh row sat two children, 8-year-old Misha, a fair-haired boy with serious blue eyes, and his little sister Katyusha. She was only 5 years old. Katyusha was clutching a worn teddy bear to her chest and from time to time quietly sniffling. "Don't cry, little Katyusha," Misha whispered, gently stroking his sister's hair. "Soon we'll see Grandma Eliza. Do you remember how she makes pancakes with blackcurrant jam?" But Katyusha couldn't calm down. Tears kept rolling down her rosy cheeks. She was a special child, born with Down syndrome. And although Misha loved his little sister very much, he understood that not all people treated her with understanding. Behind them sat a middle-aged man in an expensive suit. For half an hour already, he had been nervously taping his fingers on the armrest and looking at the children with irritation. Finally his patience snapped. "Listen," he said sharply, leaning forward. "Can't you quiet your child? People are trying to rest. This isn't some kindergarten." Misha slowly turned around. In his childlike eyes, pain flickered, but his voice sounded surprisingly calm and firm. "I'm sorry, sir. My little sister doesn't mean to. She's just special, and she's scared of flying." "Special?" The man snorted. "I can see she's special. Such children shouldn't be allowed on public transport. Normal people suffer because of them." In the cabin it became quiet, very quiet. Passengers, one by one, began turning around and listening to the conversation. Some were shaking their heads disapprovingly. Others were looking at the children with sympathy. Katyusha hugged her teddy bear even tighter and hid behind her brother's back. And Misha stood up from his seat. The entire plane froze in anticipation. "Sir," the boy said quietly, but so that everyone could hear him, "can you read?" "What kind of stupid question is that?" "Of course I can." The man was indignant. "But my Katyusha can't read yet," Misha continued, taking a worn book from his backpack. "But she knows many poems by heart, and she is the kindest girl in the world. She wouldn't hurt anyone, not even a little ant." He opened the book at the bookmark and began to read. His voice trembled with emotion, but the words sounded clear and distinct. "People are so different from each other. Some are tall, some are small, some have dark hair, and some have light hair. But the most important thing is not how we look on the outside. The most important thing is what we are like inside. A kind heart, it shines through any eyes, and it doesn't matter what kind they are, a brown or blue, ordinary or special." Absolute silence reigned in the cabin. Even the hum of the engines seemed to have quieted. Misha closed the book and looked at the man. "My mother gave me this book when Katyusha was born," the boy said quietly. "She taught me that all people are important and everyone deserves kindness and understanding." The man in the expensive suit slowly lowered his eyes. His face gradually reddened with shame, and somewhere deep in his soul, something painfully contracted. "Forgive me, boy," he whispered barely audibly. I was wrong, very wrong." And then something amazing happened. An elderly woman from the first row stood up and approached the children. She had a chocolate bar in her hands. "Little Katyusha," she said tenderly, "would you like a candy? Or maybe you could recite a poem for us?" Katyusha timidly peeked out from behind her brother's back, and suddenly smiled shyly. Her little eyes lit up with joy. "I know one about the sun," she whispered. And standing in the middle of the aisle, Katyusha began reciting the poem. The words didn't come easily to her, but she tried very hard, and every word was filled with such pure joy that many passengers' eyes welled up with tears. "The bright sun warms us all. The kind sun shines for us. It warms everyone, both big and small. The sun loves both the weak and the strong." When Katyusha finished, the entire cabin burst into applause. Soft, warm applause. The little girl was beaming with happiness, and Misha proudly hugged his sister. The man in the expensive suit quietly approached the children. In his hands he held a small notebook, expensive, with a leather binding. "Katyusha," he said gently, "this is for you. Maybe When you learn to write, you'll record your poems in it, and for now, let Misha help." The girl joyfully accepted the gift, and then unexpectedly ran up to the man and hugged him tightly. He froze, as if not knowing what to do, but then, slowly and carefully, hugged her back. "Thank you, kind uncle," Katyusha whispered, and a few minutes later, the entire cabin turned into one big family. Passengers were sharing candies, telling stories, and some were even singing along. When Katyusha began reciting poems again, when the plane landed in Moscow, people were in no hurry to part. They were exchanging addresses, phone numbers, promising to meet, and the man in the expensive suit approached Misha and said quietly, "Thank you, boy, for the lesson you taught me today. I understood that being successful is not the most important thing in life. The main thing is to remain human." Misha nodded, and firmly shook the man's hand like an adult with understanding. "Goodbye, Uncle Sergei." Katyusha waved her hand, and the man, for the first time in many years, felt his heart filling with warmth, real, genuine warmth. A year after that flight, in one of Moscow's hospitals for special children, a new play center opened. On the plaque at the entrance it said, "Sunshine Center, a gift from a grateful friend." And in the corner of the center, in a place of honor, stood a small shelf with books. And the very first book was that same worn book about kindness that was once read by an 8-year-old boy named Misha. On the flyleaf of the book, in a child's handwriting, was written, "For all the children of the world. From Misha and Katyusha. May your hearts always be kind, like the sun." And every time, when new children came to the center, someone would always read them this story about how one little boy and his special sister reminded a whole plane full of adults about the most important thing, that kindness is not weakness, it is strength, the greatest strength on earth.